Hey class, this is Module 1, the first week of the course. We will begin our course with our introductions. Please go over the contents, assignments, syllabus, and activities listed here. It's very important that you be familiar with what to expect from this course as much as possible. But all before this, go to the discussion board, click this introductions button, and introduce yourself to your classmates. Write your name, major, your interests, and whatever you want the classmates to know about you and anything that makes you comfortable sharing here. When you go to the contents, you will see the syllabus. Click the syllabus and read it thoroughly for the objectives, contents, assignment policy, list of assignments, and the schedule for the rest of the semester. Your semester is divided in modules, which mean week by week materials, activities, and assignments due for you to complete. You have 3 tests, 10 quizzes that are drawn from contents covered in the lessons, and oral presentations, and you also have a research paper at the end of the semester, and you can choose a research paper to write on a topic of interest. The syllabus has a tentative schedule of the list of materials for you to read and assignments that are due. Please look at the rows and columns for the contents and plan your semester accordingly. And you also have a syllabus quiz. The questions for the syllabus quiz are drawn from the syllabus. So please attempt the quiz carefully. Now let us focus on what we have for this week. This week's topic is English present and future. English is spoken around the world by people of a wide range of nationalities, cultures, and professional backgrounds. That makes English a language of diversity, inclusivity, and flexibility. The language originated in the 5th century and went through different cultural and linguistic transformations and has slowly spread around the world in the span of its 1500 years of history. English is spoken as the first language, which is as the mother tongue, by a majority of people in at least 10 countries, with the United States being on the top, with the largest number of speakers. There are about 485 million people who speak English as the first language, about 500 million people around the world. The United States has the largest number of native speakers of the English language, with the number being 332 million people. And then you have the United Kingdom, Canada, Australia, Liberia, Ireland, New Zealand, and so on. But there are far more number of people who speak English as a second language or foreign language. English today is an international language and is used around the world for education, business, industry, international relations, and also as a lingua franca between several languages. When we go back to its history, we can see how it went through an unimaginable number of changes that shaped it from the Old English form to the Middle English and the modern English that we speak today. English borrows mainly from Latin, French, and German, and also from almost every language that's spoken on this earth. It has the largest vocabulary and the widest range in its use. English, as the word sounds, started in England in the 5th century when the British Isles were inhabited by the indigenous Celtic people who spoke their Celtic languages and worshipped their pre-Christian Celtic deities. I'm sure you will enjoy looking back the 1500 years of the history of the English language through the evolution of various cultures that developed in the land and how those cultures were conquered and replaced by foreign invasions. This process of conquering and replacing local culture or merging with the indigenous population continued for hundreds of years. The Anglo-Saxons invaded England from the south in the 5th century and slowly replaced the Celtic languages with the English language. This is the birth of the language in the form of Old English. Then came the Romans with their Latin language to spread Christianity among the population of England. With the Latin language added to the vocabulary, the English language developed as a language with spiritual and philosophical expressions. The Old English period also saw a brutal invasion of the Nordic warriors, also known as the Vikings. The Norse languages of the Vikings did not harm, but rather contributed to the English language, enhancing especially the vocabulary. The 1066 saw a turning point in the history of the English language. This is the French invasion and occupation of England, which is famously known as the Norman Conquest. It brought revolutionary changes in the English language. Interestingly, French had no language policy to decimate the English language. So English and French both coexisted, and it was a blessing for the English language because the most significant changes happened during this time. This period is called the Middle English. The Middle English did away with the grammatical complexities of the Old English, and thus the English language became much more simplified in its expressions, and its vocabulary skyrocketed. The Canterbury Tales of Chaucer in the 14th century moved the level of the English language to a height that was never seen before. From its vocabulary to grammar, it became a language that was complete in form and sophisticated in meaning. In the history of the English language, Shakespeare has a special role because he is credited to have contributed tremendously with abundant vocabulary, sentence varieties, and artistic and scholarly sophistication. His more than 3 dozen dramas gave the birth of the modern English. Hamlet, Macbeth, Othello, and King Lear are his 4 great tragedies that have always occupied a special place in English literature until today. The colonial British Empire spread English all over the world during this time, from England to India and Australia in the east, and South Africa and North America in the west. The Industrial Revolution, growth of science and technology, colonization, publications, and spread of English literature and the Bible increased English and made it the most spoken language in the world. During the Renaissance period, following the route of Portuguese and Spanish settlers, Britishers ventured out with their ships to the west in east, north and south in search of new land. This is how their English reached India, Australia, New Zealand, South Africa, and North America, where the English Empire was set up. Today, English is spoken by 400 million people as the first language and 3 times the number as the second language all over the world. The influence of the English language is increasing and the language is expanding as the world enters a new world of technology. In the last 20 years only, we have seen miraculous changes in our ways of life because of technology, especially in the field of communication and transportation. The use of computer and the internet has converted the world into a global village. Millions of people are on the internet at all the time, interacting with each other for business, industry, education, relationships, and family, from Africa to Asia and from North America to Japan and Australia. There are cultural and linguistic communities, political campaigns, professional groups, and business societies all on the internet, and they have all benefited to the English language. The world of social media is ever increasing, and more platforms are coming up. We have Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, Reddit, YouTube, Google Chrome, and so on. They are creating a space for people from different cultures, languages, backgrounds, and nationalities. And which language is benefiting the most from all this? It is certainly English, because the internet originated in English, and that makes it the most friendly for the English language. As a result, more and more people are learning English for computer and internet literacy. This is just the beginning. We can expect outbursts of new civilizations in the near future, and they're all heading in the direction of making English more and more popular. We should also expect that English as a language, such as its syntax, vocabulary, pronunciation, and uses, will not remain the same. So please watch Dr. David Crystal talking about the future of English in the video included in this module. Thank you.